I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is, thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up, got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669. 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, you can help us with a $60 pledge. That's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism, on how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to that $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Bill Press Show. Billionaire Steve Mnuchin to Treasury and billionaire Wilbur Ross to Commerce. The billionaire likes to hang out with other billionaires. That's one thing we're learning. Hello, everybody. Wednesday, November 30. Hello, hello, hello. Great to see you today. It's the Bill Press Show. And we are live from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., keeping our eye on what's going on here in the District of Columbia, down here at the Capitol, just down the street from our studio, where there's a big vote today in the House for the new or continued Democratic leadership of the Democratic caucus. Democratic minority leader Nancy Pelosi being challenged for that by Ohio Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan, both good friends of this program. We'll see how that shakes down today. And we're keeping our eye on what's going on up at Trump Tower in New York, where Mitt Romney and Donald Trump and Reince Priebus sat down last night for a posh dinner at the very Tony Jean-Georges restaurant in Trump International. Wonder who picked up the bill for that one. You and I did, probably. Yeah, unfortunately. They charged that to the taxpayers of America. Why didn't Trump go to his favorite restaurant, McDonald's or Taco Bell, right, if we're paying for it? Oh, no. They went to Jean-Georges. Anyhow, wherever there's news today, we'll tell you all about it. And the best part is you get to tell us what you think about it. You know how to do so. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. If you're listening on your local progressive talk radio station, coast to coast, give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. If you're watching on Free Speech TV, give us a call at 866-55-PRESS nationwide. And if you're looking at us on our video stream, youtube.com/The Bill Press Show, or listening on the radio, or watching on Free Speech TV, you can also send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show and on Facebook at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Keep the conversation going with our entire team here, Peter Rockburn and Jamie Benson. Hello, hello, guys.
Here we go.
Good morning. Everything ready?
Yes, sir.
Middle of the week. Ray Rogers, ready for your calls at 866-55-PRESS again, and Cyprian Bolding, our videographer, on the job at... My
you.
God, I could feel that sneeze
Bless
coming.
You. There we go. Bless you.
And another one. What is it? What's going on?
Something's in the air, apparently.
I'm contagious. Something's contagious here. Yeah, how about it? Good to have you with us today. And all right, We got to start with this. Peter, why were you late today? What happened?
Come on. I wasn't late. I'm here at the start of the show. No, I wasn't.
Did you really? Really?
Yeah, I came outside. I had a flat tire.
He needed some roadside assistance.
I came outside. I had a flat tire.
I have never, by the way, people don't have flat tires.
I haven't had a flat tire in a long, long time.
Seriously. I used to, you always have flat tires. I've changed, I don't know how many flat tires, right, in the days. But today?
Yeah, I don't know why it happened. I was out late, not late, but I was out last night. I came in. I was taking Magnus to.
Oh, here it is, partying. Now the truth comes.
No. I was coming home from taking Magnus to wrestling practice, and I parked the car and everything was fine. And I came out this morning. I was even running a little early for a change, and I came outside, flat tire. So I had to, and it's rainy outside and gross, so I had to get down and change the tire and do all that. Then I had to go change.
Did you have the jack? I mean, all the stuff was there?
Yeah, I got everything I needed.
Do cars still have jacks in them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not very good jacks. You could buy better ones, but I had the one that came with the car. So I had to change the tire at, 4:30 in the morning. It's rainy out, so I'm a mess. I made it just a time.
You didn't call AAA?
No, I didn't call AAA. I know how to change a tire. I can change a tire.
Yeah. I do too.
He's a producer.
I make things happen.
Producer.
I produce.
Producer. Well, it's good to see you. Glad it wasn't anymore. Glad you weren't on the highway when you had your flat
Tell
tire.
me about it. Yeah. Coming out and finding a flat tire is way easier than blowing one on the highway. Yeah.
Right, man. All right. By the way, Bernie Sanders was out yesterday. He's on the road tour for his book. It's a great new book. I'm almost through it. It's called Our Revolution. Tells the whole story of the campaign, of the primary campaign, how he got into it, and then a whole kind of agenda for what the progressive agenda's got to be for this party. It's a great, great book. Pick it up, Our Revolution. And yesterday on talking with Amy Goodman, he on Free Speech TV, they had a little forum, and she interviewed him and asked him, did you make a mistake when you said in that first debate, we don't want to hear about your damn emails anymore?
There was an investigation going on, and that I wanted to spend that history 10 years from now. Trust me, no one will remember these damn emails. What they will worry about is people not having health care. They'll worry about climate change. They'll worry about poverty. They'll worry about infrastructure.
Yep. Bernie made the right decision.
Well said.
I still say he made the right decision.
Yeah.
Which kind of gets us into where we start today. And by the way, a little bit later, David Jackson, USA Today, will be joining us. And we'll have reporters in from National Journal, from the Daily Mail, and also from ThinkProgress. And our friend Melanie Sloan used to be head of CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, will be joining us as well. But in the sense of what's important and what's not, there's no better day to talk about that than the day that we have been, a day after we've been consumed and still are by Donald Trump's comments about flag burning. I mean, can we all agree? This is nonsense. Total nonsense. Look, so with all the serious problems and issues facing this country today, right, during this period of transition, like what is going on with ISIS? Like, what are we going to do about climate change? What are we going to do about opening up relations with Cuba? What are we going to do about health care when you've got the arch enemy of universal health care in as the new HHS secretary? What are we going to do about public education when you have the arch enemy of public schools, Betty DeVos, in as the new education secretary? What's the Democratic Party going to do to rebuild itself? All of these major issues that we ought to be talking about in the media and among ourselves as Americans. And what are we talking about? We're talking about flag burning and whether or not somebody who burns the flag should go to jail for a year or pay a $100,000 fine or maybe even lose their citizenship. How the hell did we get sidetracked into this? You know what happened, because Donald Trump tweeted about it yesterday, and we found out that everybody's wondering, well, where'd that tweet come? Where'd that come from? So, why all of a sudden are we talking about flag burning? And it turns out that there was this, because there hasn't been any rash of flag burning lately at any of these rallies. Well, it turns out that Fox News ran a story yesterday morning about 6:35 a.m. East Coast time about somewhere, somehow, in some little rally, somebody had tried to burn an American flag. So Trump, obviously, up, sitting in bed in his jammies, sees this report, picks up his phone, and then tweets out, quote, "Nobody should be allowed to burn the American flag. If they do, there must be consequences." I'm surprised he could spell consequences. Perhaps loss of citizenship or year in jail. And Trump puts that out. And you know what? It's like the media treats it like the Pope has just spoken ex cathedra. The Pope has just put out a new proclamation, a new encyclical that this from now on is the word of God. No, it's not. It's some sleepy president-elect in bed who's got nothing better to do and considers the presidency, by the way, as such almost a joke that he doesn't care what he says or what he does any time of day on Twitter. He just throws it out there. And then we go gaga over it. It is nuts. We've got to stop this, friends. We have to stop it. I don't know whether we will or not, but we have to.
It's so funny how after he sent that tweet,
that's all we saw on the cable news.
Yeah, it's all we saw. And it was either, this is a distraction from the fact that he put in a guy who wants to dismantle Obamacare. And then I saw someone else said, this is a way of just baiting protesters into burning the American flag.
No, all it was Trump.
Yeah. He's just a grumpy old guy watching the news and just rattled off a tweet about it.
Now, all of us do that, right? I mean, we see something, we say, that's stupid.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But no, with Trump, and that becomes like the law of the land.
Right.
No, it's not, right? This government, this greatest country on earth, is not going to be run by 140 characters on Twitter. The response yesterday, interestingly enough, was all over the place. His spokesperson, Jason Miller, went out and kind of agreed with his boss after all, he wants to keep his job.
Sure.
But there are a lot of Republicans who didn't. Here was Congressman, for example, Sean Duffy yesterday with Wolf Blitzer on CNN.
I think the court is probably right that we want to protect those people who want to protest and their right to actually demonstrate with disgracing our flag, even though so many of us who love our country and love our flag object to it. I don't think we want to make this a legal issue.
Yeah, it was decided by the Supreme Court in 1989, I guess it was. No, 1969, in fact. Nice. The court ruled that as part of our freedom of expression, as part of our First Amendment, that the burning of the flag is allowed as a form of expression that all of us find distasteful. And that's the thing, the First Amendment covers freedom of speech, even if we do find it distasteful. Surprising to me, Mitch McConnell, a Republican leader of the Senate, even agrees.
In this country, we have a long tradition of respecting unpleasant speech. I happen to support the Supreme Court's decision on that matter.
An issue on which Mitch McConnell and Barack Obama agree, as Press Secretary Josh Earnest told us at the briefing yesterday.
Many Americans, the vast majority of Americans, myself included, find the burning of the flag offensive. But we have a responsibility as a country to carefully protect our rights that are enshrined in the Constitution.
Well said, Josh Earnest. And our good friend Tim Mack, you've seen Tim several times on the show, he was on the Hill yesterday, and he cornered Democratic Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia and asked him what he thought about Donald Trump's flag-burning statement.
What do you make of this proposal by the president-elect to ban flag burning and make that make constitutional?
Well, the bottom line on flag burning is, that's the First Amendment right, but you do it in front of me, I want to beat the hell out of you, okay?
Okay. I want to beat the hell out of you, okay? By the way, thanks to Tim Mack, and thanks to the Bill Press Show, you won't hear that audio anywhere else. That is an exclusive Bill Press Show audio. Our friend Tim Mack contacted us after the interview and sent us that exclusive audio, for which we thanked him. But Joe Manchin is saying, I think what a lot of Americans feel, and I got to tell you, you might remember, I've told you this story before, When I was Democratic State Chair of California one time, I was at a big rally on some campus. I forget what campus. And Art Torres, who was a candidate at the time for state controller, I believe. He's the guy that succeeded me, I appointed as the head of the Democratic Party in California when I left to come back and do Crossfire. And we were standing there. I believe it was a rally for Kathleen Brown when she was running for governor. Huge crowd of students. And we're standing there, and suddenly, right in front of us, right in front of the stage, we noticed there was a guy holding up the American flag and had his lighter, and he's trying to set it on fire. Pissed me off, I got to tell you. Art Torres and I jumped off the stage and tackled the guy. I mean, that's what we thought about this burning of the flag, right? Yeah, he has a right to do it, but as Joe Manchin said, I've got a right to beat the hell out of him, too, if you see somebody trying to do it. The point is, it is a protected form of free speech under the Constitution, as ruled by the Supreme Court. But here again, the issue is not whether or not it's allowed under the First Amendment. The issue really is, why did we get distracted, thrown off the rails by Donald Trump just because he tweeted about it? Does it mean that Donald Trump intends to do anything about it? No. Do we expect the new administration, the new president, to send some law up to Congress, some bill up to Congress, which would make flag burning unconstitutional, punishable by a year in jail or losing one's citizenship? No. It doesn't mean he's going to do anything about it. We've got to get that into our heads, I think, that the tweet storm of Donald Trump is going to continue the way it did during the primary, the way it did during the general, the way he's continued to do it during this transition, on any subject that pops into his head at any time. And, you know, what we've got to learn to do, I think, is ignore it. Ignore it.
Yeah.
Totally ignore it.
It's not going to get any better.
It's not going to get any better. It proves that this is what we can expect from the Lincoln bedroom, right, is tweets every morning. And I think we're learning, I hope we're learning, we've got to learn to distinguish Donald Trump's meaningless tweets from official presidential statements. And I would hope that Donald Trump might learn that as the president-elect or the president of the United States, what you say is important. And people do give your words, attach a lot of importance to your words. So you should not just be reckless the way he is. What do you say? 866-55-PRESS. How do we survive this hailstorm, this tweet storm? Can we ignore it? It's the Bill Press Show, Wednesday, last day of November.
But you do it in front of me, I want to beat the hell out of you, okay?
Connect with the Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up. Got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. You know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, if you can help us with a $60 pledge, that's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism and how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to that $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
This is the Bill Press Show.
At 26 minutes after the hour, indeed, the Bill Press Show, and Donald Trump's, guess what? He's up, and he's tweeting already again this morning.
Yeah, he is up this time. He's
attacking
tweeting.
CNN?
Well, no, not yet. This is him talking about the Ohio State University attack. He says, ISIS is taking credit for the terrible stabbing attack at Ohio State University by a Somali refugee who should not have been in our country. So now we know where he stands and how he feels about that.
So what's that based on? That he should not have been in this country. See, again, it's just Donald Trump shooting off the top of his head.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he's just watching the news.
Yeah. You would think, again, the way a president-elect ought to handle this is have the Department of Homeland Security issue, if this is true, that this guy had a history, which from what I've heard had no such history, but if he had a history of any connection at all, then he shouldn't have, then, right, okay, should not have been allowed in the country. We don't know that.
Yeah.
It's just a tweet.
Yeah.
Just a tweet.
Just mouthing off.
Let's take a quick call, then we'll get to some comments, too. Jim out in Chicago, WCPT. Hello, Jim. Jim. Hey, Jim. Hello, Jim. All right. Oh, man.
I know, Jim.
Man.
You missed it, Jim.
Man, you missed it, right? You only got so much time, too. A quick comment there?
Yeah, we're on Twitter, by the way, at BP Show, at BP Show. A couple comments there. Jim says, does Bill even listen to what he says? You have a right to burn the flag, but not to batter someone for doing so. Violence is not the answer.
That is true. So I apologize now, 15 years later, for beating the crap out of the guy who was trying to burn the flag on campus. But don't try it again, or I'll beat the crap out of you again. More calls coming up.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is Ben Gordon.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is, thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up, got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669. 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, if you can help us with a $60 pledge, that's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism and how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to the $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
Same great show, new great channel. Stream live video at youtube.com/The Bill Press Show.
All right, so 2 things you ought to do right now, today, 33 minutes after the hour. One is, if you haven't already done so, go to BillPressShow.com. I'm sorry. Yes, go there too, but go to youtube.com/The Bill Press Show and sign up and become a part of your team. As we tell you, that way, all during the day, we send out little pieces of video from the show, or like my summary of the White House briefing, which we did yesterday.
I was going to say, that's something you can't get by watching the show. You've got to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
We had a video up of your recap of the White House press briefing. moments after it ended.
I walked out of the room, did a little video, you put it up.
Right to YouTube.
Yeah.
So sign up and subscribe because you get stuff that you can't see on the show. It's really important.
YouTube.com/The Bill Press Show. And the other thing you ought to do is add a little style, add a little color to your life. Like me this morning. I'm looking so good because I'm wearing one of Carol Press's hand-woven scarves. Tell you all about them. And you can see for yourself if you just go to our website, BillPressShow.com, click on Carol Press scarves and check them out. They're either in bamboo or like this one, rayon chenille, warm, beautiful, just what you need for this holiday season as a special gift to yourself or someone you love. Lots of different colors and designs to choose from. Go to BillPressShow.com, click on the Carol Press scarves, and check it out. And Carol will take good care of you. So we're talking about the tweets, and again, Donald Trump is up and tweeting this morning. And, you know, our message is that we as Americans and we in the media just have to learn to ignore Donald Trump's tweets. And, you know, as one who is a member of the White House press corps and goes to the briefings almost every day, this is how it has worked for the last maybe 4 or 5 presidents anyhow. I've only been there under President Obama in the White House. But when you hear from the president, it's a very serious, it's very important, and it's very well programmed, right? We hear from the president when he holds an official news conference. We hear from the president when sometimes he has something to say, but without holding a news conference, he'll just make comments to the pool. They'll call the people, the little small group of reporters who follow him everywhere he goes, either into the Oval Office, if there's some breaking news and he wants to make a statement, or he'll make a statement to the pool like in the dining room or in the cabinet room. Sometimes the president will come into the briefing room. I remember several times when he's walked in, when David Souter resigned from the Supreme Court. We're in the briefing room and suddenly the door opens and in comes the President of the United States to tell us that Souter had resigned and he had talked to him and wanted us to know he would be about finding a replacement for David Souter on the Supreme Court. It turned out to be Sonia Sotomayor. Or sometimes the White House will just put out an official statement, a written statement, depending on what the issue is. So those are the ways that the White House, that the president communicates with the American people. Again, very structured, very formal, very well orchestrated. And, of course, on a daily basis, we hear what the president thinks through his spokesperson, the press secretary of the United States. Okay? Now, under Donald Trump, the one thing you never hear from President Obama and never heard from George Bush and never heard from Bill Clinton before or any of the others is just the president just mouthing off.
Yeah.
Now you've suddenly got a whole new way of communicating, which is at any time of day, just pick up your phone and tweet. You know, just like some teenager does walking down the street. That's who Donald Trump is. He's a teenager with his first cell phone.
That's a really
right,
very spot on description. You know, for all the
putting meaningless stuff out on Twitter.
Yeah.
But this is from the presidency of the United States, from the White House.
I think what's so jarring about this, it's jarring no matter what, but what's so unsettling is we're going from Barack Obama, who is
so
one of the most thoughtful people we have ever seen in the office. I mean, methodical, slow, well thought out.
The idea that he would
very rarely makes a misstep.
Say anything that was not thought about ahead of time.
Yeah. And now we've got this.
By the way, Newt Gingrich yesterday giving an interview with our friend Susan Page at USA Today. She asked him about the fact Trump hasn't had a press conference yet since he was elected. He said that Trump should forgo the press, only take hand-picked questions from the public. Newt Gingrich saying, quote, "The news media so totally disgraced itself in this election. If I were Trump, I would just say no. And if the White House Correspondents Association doesn't like it, I'd say fine, disband."
You know what?
They just don't care.
Newt had one really good idea in his life, which is to create a moon colony. And the sooner he does it and the sooner he goes, the better. Right. Right. Yeah. Join up, Newt. Right. But by the way, that attitude, and tonight we in the White House Correspondents Association have our annual holiday party. And I can tell you what the buzz in the briefing room is, and what the buzz is going to be tonight is whether or not there will be press briefings under the Trump administration. Or do we all just sit around and wait for what pops up on Twitter?
I mean, that's a scary reality.
Yeah,
but
we'll ask David Jackson about that in our next segment. In fact, David's the former president of the White House Correspondents Association.
Oh, yeah.
But this is serious. I tell you what I think it does. I think it demeans and I think it cheapens the office of the presidency of the United States for the president-elect and, God forbid, for the president to be communicating with us via Twitter. More comments before we go to the phone?
Remember, we are on Twitter at BP Show, at BP Show. Robbie says, we have to pay attention to what he tweets. At some point, he's going to be watching Looney Tunes and will tweet about providing explosives to coyotes. That is not too far out of the realm of possibility. And Jim says, I suggest we revoke the citizenship of...
Roadrunner.
Yeah, right. I suggest we revoke the citizenship of Trump supporters. They helped cause this coming disaster. And Matt says, America is under assault. Instead of burning the flag, we should fly it upside down. Instead, we can burn the Confederate flag.
By the way...
Which I'm all for.
Yes. By the way, this is good. This is Twitter. This is a good use of Twitter.
Yes, right.
Yes, right? We welcome you to use Twitter at BP Show, right? This is good. We love that, right? But not the President of the United States. 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. David in Huntington, New York. Hi, David.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Hi.
You know, my first instinct was like you to ignore these things. But because he doesn't give access to the press and we haven't really heard from him, these are the only way that we can find out what's going on in what passes for his mind. The fact that someone who just got elected president thinks that you can take citizenship away from someone, which you can't, because what are you going to do with someone after you take their citizenship away? It's against international law. You know, this guy does not think through anything. He's got a short fuse, and he's going to be with his hands on the nuclear button. That's the scary part.
That is really scary. David, you know, I'm with you in the sense it is absent any news conference, right, or absent any controlled media strategy. It is the only way that we know what's in Donald Trump's mind. But at the same time, as we said earlier, it doesn't mean that he's serious about it, right? I mean, I hope I'm not just being Pollyannish here, but I don't really think that what Donald Trump was telling us yesterday is that he has a thought-out strategy and a plan to get the Attorney General of the United States to push the United States Congress to make flag burning illegal. I honestly don't believe he's thought it out. I don't think he is going to ask the Supreme Court to reverse itself from 1969. I think it was just a hot-headed, instantaneous reaction to something he saw on Fox News.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right. But again, is this the way we want the leader of the free world to be communicating? And you could see how it could create like really serious problems. What if he sees something that happens around the world, right? In, I don't know, in the Middle East, in the UK, anywhere, and he tweets it out. He could create an international incident.
Yeah.
With
Twitter.
With Twitter.
Yeah.
Right.
He really could.
In South Bend, Indiana, say hello to Melvin. Hey, Melvin, thanks for joining us. What's up?
Good morning to you and the entire team.
Thank you.
Problem we have with these tweets is media, not just you, but media itself gives this guy too much attention on anything that he does or says.
I agree.
As opposed to the things that he are implementing, like putting, Steve Bannon in the White House, and then you got Rance Priebus. What if Barack Obama had did Jeremiah Wright and Louis Farrakhan? Do you think the media would be talking about a tweet?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, right. I mean, putting Steve Bannon in is like putting a Jeremiah Wright in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point.
Somebody's a real,
I would argue that Steve Bannon is
turned
way
out to
more
be a-
radical than Jeremiah Wright.
Yeah,
But it's,
yeah.
I mean, it's the equivalent. He is our version of Jeremiah Wright. Yes.
Yeah. No, excellent point, Melvin. The aforementioned David Jackson from USA Today covers the White House for USA Today when he's not out on the road with Donald Trump. Joins us in the next segment here of the Bill Press Show.
Literally, people will seriously say, can't you delete his Twitter app?
That was actually one of my questions.
Of course, it's not for me to take away a grown man's Twitter account.
Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Every day when I was 5, my older sister would play teacher. Her students were me, my stuffed rabbit, and an American Girl doll. She'd line us up at the end of the bed and teach us whatever she'd learned in school that day. Now she teaches ESL at an elementary school in Boston, and every week she tells me stories about her students. Anna does not know how to read in Spanish, much less English, but she still wants to be a writer when she grows up. Juan chooses to stay inside and study at recess so that one day he'll be able to teach his own brother. These kids are good organs in a sick body. In 2001, No Child Left Behind gutted bilingual education. Students who have been in the country for 1 year are now expected to perform at grade level on standardized English tests. My sister is not allowed to instruct them in Spanish. If the kids don't jump high enough, the school loses money. Improving a school by picking its pockets is like tuning a guitar by ripping off the strings. Learning to read in a new language before you can even read in your own is like learning to walk while a pit bull is chasing you. Like learning to sing with the conductor's fist down your throat. This year for my sister's birthday, I got books for her students. A poem on one page in Spanish, the next in English. She is not allowed to help them read the first. Their heritage is a banned book. Learning to read in a new language when you can't even read in your own is like trying to heal a burn victim by drowning them. We are telling these children who have spent their whole lives in the deep end that they'll learn how to swim if they just float out a little farther. In the 1980s, American slaughterhouses began building corrals in curves so no animals could see the blood at the end of the tracks. This is how we kept them moving forward. In 2001, we began building the hallways of our schools in curves. This is how we keep them moving forward. You never learn, you fail the test. You never learn, you fail the test. You never learn, you drop out. I know. I am lucky enough to be one of the winners of this game. I was handed a head start and a rule book in my own tongue, but the winners of a rigged game should not get to write the rules. On the television, some senator preaches that throwing money at an urban school is like feeding caviar to your dog. They just won't know how to appreciate it. After all, if these parents can't take care of their own children, why should we? Well, tell that to Anna, who has my sister translate newsletters aloud to her father because he too was never taught how to read. Tell that to Juan, whose mother and baby brother are still in Guatemala, whose father works 3 jobs. My sister tells me school is the most stable place in these kids' lives. She has been a teacher since she was smaller than they are. But since when does being a teacher mean having to swear not to help? Since when does being a teacher mean having your hands tied while the schoolhouse burns to the ground? We are leading these children along a track built in circles as their lungs fill with smoke, telling them it is their fault. They can't find a way out.
Dylan Garrity from Slam MN.
Your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
13 minutes before the top of the hour, we've been talking about Donald Trump's tweets and whether this is an appropriate way for the President of the United States to communicate with the American people. And, of course, he is at it again. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, it was morning tweets attacking CNN. Yesterday, morning tweets on flag burning. This morning, morning tweets on, Peter?
Well, he just tweeted out during the break, I will be holding a major news conference in New York City with my children on December 15th to discuss the fact that I will be leaving my great businesses in total in order to fully focus on running the country in order to make America great again. So
is this the way we are going to get news from the President of the United States in the next administration? David Jackson White House correspondent for USA
the answer
Today.
to the question is yes. By the way, that tweet storm is in progress at the end of that second tweet feed. He says, while I am not mandated...
I know. No, there's more coming. We don't know what it is.
I'm sorry. What is it, David, he says? What?
He says he's not mandated to do any of that. He argues that the law really doesn't apply to him when it comes to conflict of interest. So I guess he's going to say he's not mandated to separate himself from his business, but he's going to do so for the good of the country, all that kind of stuff.
By the way,
we also on the news, he's going to announce the Mnuchin appointment just any minute now. So that's another thing that's going on.
Stephen Mnuchin as the Treasury Secretary and Wilbur Ross as Commerce, right?
Right. And also I'm told that Todd Ricketts is going to be Deputy Commerce Secretary, which is interesting because A, Ricketts is the co-owner of the Chicago Cubs, but B, the Ricketts family was really anti-Trump during the primary. So,
but they support.
How y'all feel about that Cubs win now?
Yeah. They supported him during the general, though, didn't they? Yeah,
they did. But I guess they were cruise people. Some of their ads are pretty tough, and Trump threatened the Ricketts family. Remember that tweet where he said that some people need to look at their business?
Yeah. Oh God, there's so much to talk about, David. Well, let's take a quick. Let's continue with this theme. So, does this mean are there going to be? What do you think? Are there going to be regular press briefings under the Trump administration?
That's a good question. I think so. I think that's why they want Kellyanne Conway to take the press secretary's job because they figure she would be good at the podium. So, I do think they're planning to do press.
Reportedly,
briefings.
She's turned it down.
Yeah, and I think they're still trying to talk her into it. There's a lot of drama surrounding Kellyanne Conway right now, and I think part of it is I think they really want her to be press secretary. I don't think they've interviewed anyone else for the job. So
well, she's done a good job for them in the media. You have to admit. So, but this idea of communicating, we've seen President Obama who communicates very formally and through a very well organized process, either through Josh Earnest or a written statement or a news conference very occasionally, right, or with pool reporters. I mean, Donald Trump, is he going to continue, do you believe, to just be tweeting out all the time?
I'm sure. I suspect he is going to be tweeting out all the time. And as far as news conferences, I'm frankly surprised he's doing this blind trust business in a news conference. Although we'll see if he, his definition of news conference differs from some of our others.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee he'll take questions at this alleged news conference. So it's all very, it's all very murky territory, and we just don't know. But I would expect many fewer news conferences than even President Obama did.
Right. Now, what do you make of last night's dinner? Was it with Mitt Romney? Was it purely for show, or do you think he's serious?
I think he's semi-serious. I can't really fathom it because I think Trump himself likes Romney, likes the idea of having Romney as Secretary of State, but everyone around him is arguing against it for various reasons. Some are some it's just political because Romney is so critical of Trump, but others point out that Romney has very different views than Trump when it comes to foreign policy, particularly on Russia. So a lot of people around Trump don't understand how it would work, but Trump himself seems enamored of the idea, although I think the tide's kind of running against Romney last night. In fact, it wouldn't have surprised me if Romney pulled out of the race last night, but he didn't. I mean, he did talk to the press, but he said very flattering things about Donald Trump. But at this point, it would surprise me if he went with Romney, but you never know.
What do we know about Mnuchin and Wilbur Ross, other than the fact that they are fellow billionaires?
That's pretty much it. Mnuchin was his campaign finance chair during the campaign. He's very close. I think Mnuchin's been at Trump Tower just about every day. He may be his closest aide. He may be one of the closest advisors Trump has.
Is that right?
I think,
we don't
the Treasury Secretary. That's the Treasury. That's been in the cake for weeks. So that's no surprise at all. Wilbur Ross, he knows well, and Ross also co-authored this infrastructure plan that I think they're going to go with. It involves a lot of private financing of new infrastructure projects. So I think that's Ross's entree into the administration.
It is interesting that Mnuchin and Ross, Betsy DeVos also. And, of course, Donald Trump, all the billionaire club, right, in New York.
Right.
And Mitt Romney's he's not exactly small change, right, when it comes to Mitt Romney's wealth, right?
Well, I don't know how Trump himself stacks up against these guys, but, of course, we don't since he won't release his tax returns. But it's quite interesting. I don't think he's as wealthy as some of these other guys.
Who, Donald Trump? Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure he is. I'm not sure he, a lot of people won't call him a billionaire because they're just not positive. I mean, there's a lot of people that feel like he's worth much less than he lets on.
It's almost like he's not worth the amount of money that he claims to be worth, David.
Yeah, well, some say, but here again, we'll never know since he won't release his tax return.
Yeah. And is the transition picking up? I mean, are there for a while?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think he's got some a steady stream of appointments. We'll hear the economic team. I think we'll hear on defense secretary soon. I think he'll resolve the Secretary of State thing pretty soon as well. I think he wanted to get a lot of these major appointments done. You know, on Thursday he's going to go back out on the road. He's going to go to Indiana to celebrate Kerry's decision to keep jobs, and he's going to have to start the thank you tour in Cincinnati. I think he wanted to have a lot of this stuff done by Thursday. So we could have a real run on news here in the next couple of days.
That's right.
Certainly the economic team today.
By the way, David, he still hasn't finished that thought on Twitter. It's still
I know. I've
mandated to ...
We're ready to go with the story, but oh God, I don't know. It's a different world, fellas. What can I say?
All right. Well, let's get back to work. Thanks, David Jackson.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Bye.
Stay on top of it. He will. David Jackson, USAtoday.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Being prepared is a part of who you are. But it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Melanie Sloan, government ethics expert on Donald Trump's potential conflicts of interest. Top of the next hour.
It's nearly the end of the year, so Dictionary.com has picked their word of the year. We had Merriam-Webster's a couple weeks ago. Now we have Dictionary.com's word of the year, and this is deeply depressing. It's a word that embodies a major theme resonating deeply in the cultural consciousness over the prior 12 months, and that word is Xenophobia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's the word of the year?
It's the word of the year. And
yeah.
It's deeply depressing.
Well, yeah, because 62 million Americans just voted for a xenophobiac as the next president of the United States. That's what's depressing. Conflicts of interest?
This
you bet.
is
Next.
the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is, thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up, got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669. 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, if you can help us with a $60 pledge, that's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism, on how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to the $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Watch out. He's tweeting again. Is the world safe? Good morning, everybody. What do you say? Wednesday, November 30. Hello, hello, hello. Great to see you today, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Bill Press Show. Coming to you live from, where we are, Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, right here on Capitol Hill, just down the street from the United States Capitol building, where there's a big vote today. Nancy Pelosi up for re-election as a Democratic leader of the House, challenged by Ohio Congressman Tim Ryan. That vote scheduled this morning, as well as votes on the new rules that the House Democrats will adopt. But all eyes up on New York, still at Trump Tower, where the president-elect is announcing this morning his economic team of Steve Mnuchin, Hollywood movie mogul, as his Treasury Secretary, and Wilbur Ross, former head of Goldman Sachs, as his Commerce Secretary. And the president-elect is already tweeting this morning about what he plans to do with Trump, the Trump empire. We'll get into that and take your calls. Good to have you with us today, whether you're listening on your local progressive talk radio station or watching on Free Speech TV. We welcome you, all of you, to the program and invite you to join the conversation by giving us a call at 866-55-PRESS or send us your comments on Twitter. Join the Twitter crowd at BP Show or on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. It's been a while since she's been in. The founder of Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics, otherwise known as CREW, now head of Summer Strategies, which she also founded, and a government ethics expert. Melanie Sloan is back. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, so nice to be with you again.
Good to see you, too. Thank you. And you know the team here, of course, Peter Rogburn and Jamie
indeed.
Benson.
Good morning.
Good to be with you all.
And Ray Rogers there, ready for your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Cyprian Bolding on the job as our videographer as well. So, Melanie, yesterday the tweets were all about flag burning, as we know. The day before is attacking CNN. We'll get into this morning's tweets in just a second, but Jimmy Fallon last night had some fun with the flag burning tweet.
Trump also tweeted out a threat to take away the citizenship of anyone who burns the American flag. Yeah. He says that there are plenty of other things people can burn instead, like their tax returns. I mean, you can easily. He said, that's fine.
Yeah, for all we know, he might as well have burned his tax returns because we're never going to see them.
No, right, exactly.
Oh, man, I got to tell you. So let's talk about Donald Trump's conflicts of interest. He's been busy kind of assembling his cabinet. At the same time, he has met with developers from India about building a new Trump hotel. He's met with developers from the Philippines about building a new Trump hotel. They've given a great big tour down here to his new hotel just down the street on Pennsylvania Avenue for foreign diplomats, saying, basically, if you want to be in good with the new administration, have your meetings here. Put your people up here. Right. I mean, can he get away with that? And isn't this a blatant conflict of interest?
Well, it absolutely is a blatant conflict of interest. There's no question about that. And there's no question that if he was any other federal executive branch employee, he couldn't get away with it. But because he is the president of the United States, the president-elect, he's exempt from the conflict statutes. He and the vice president are exempt from the statutes.
Why were they written that way?
It was viewed that the president had to be free to act in any way he saw fit. So there was this argument that he needed to be exempt, and it was the exemption was added in 1989. It was the original statute that came in 1948. It's been around since then, but in 1989 it was specifically exempt. He was specifically exempted, although in 1974 there had been a memo written at the Department of Justice suggesting that it was unconstitutional for the president to be bound by the conflicts of interest statutes.
But the president is not above the law.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
Yes, of course, the president is not above the law, and even though,
as we've learned,
even though the statutes do exempt him, every president has obeyed the conflict of interest laws. They've all followed them. Jimmy Carter got rid of his peanut farm. I mean, people do get rid of things, and they do put their assets in blind trusts. If you look at other top officials, like when Henry Paulson, who was Bush's Treasury Secretary, came in, and he had a lot of Goldman Sachs stock, he sold all of that in order to be Treasury Secretary. We've seen people who became the Secretary of Defense, for example, once even had to sell off his Pepsi stock because Pepsi is served on military bases. So the conflict statutes are very strict as applied to other people, but not, by the way, Congress either. They don't apply to Congress people either.
You know what I think is
they don't apply to Congress either?
No. Members of Congress have exempted themselves also from the same exemptions.
But how about these people that write the books? And didn't Jim Wright got thrown out as speaker?
Well, here's the thing. Yes, there are, but they have ethics rules. So the House and Senate have ethics rules, and so while they're not technically obliged to follow the statutes, there are ethics rules in the House and Senate that prohibit them from doing something that benefits their personal financial interest, and they would have an ethics problem in the House or Senate if they did that.
Okay. I think during the campaign, and especially during the debates, we get a little peek into the warped vision that Trump has of how he fits into American politics. When Hillary Clinton would say, this is where you didn't pay taxes. We know you didn't pay taxes on this. This is not good. He says, it was legal. If you didn't like it, you should have fixed the law. If you didn't like this openly grifting and corruption, you should have changed the law. It's not my fault that I'm essentially doing something that looks awfully criminal.
Right.
You should have fixed it. And so, in some sense,
this is a continuation.
This is just like him carrying that on.
Right.
All right, so to deal with these conflicts, I wrote a column about it. Other people have written about it as well. Donald Trump has suddenly, this morning, popped up, and he is addressing this on Twitter. Peter, the latest, Melanie, these tweets came out 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so a series of tweets from Donald Trump. I'll be holding a major news conference in New York City with my children on December 15th to discuss the fact that I will be leaving my great businesses in total in order to fully focus on running the country in order to make America great again. While I am not mandated to do this under the law, I feel it is visually important as president to in no way have a conflict of interest with my various businesses. Hence, Legal documents are being crafted which take me completely out of the business operations. The presidency is a far more important task.
All right, so he says he's stepping totally aside from his businesses and turning everything over to his kids. Does this settle the problem?
Doesn't even come close to solving the problem. It's ridiculous. It's just like something else he's doing for TV and Twitter. It's not actually solving the problem. A true blind trust is one in which you have absolutely no control and no communications over it, no knowledge of the identity of specific assets held in it, and a trust manager operates completely independently. Does anybody really think Trump's children are not going to be communicating with Donald Trump about what's going on with those businesses and that Donald Trump is going to have absolutely no say in any of that? Trump has told us over and over, like, this is the most important thing to him, is not actually running the country, it's running the Trump organization. And from the day after he was elected, he started having developers come in and talk about new Trump hotels. You would think at that point he'd really be focusing on the transition that he wasn't expecting to be engaged in. But no, he's still worrying about Trump problems. So there's no way in the world that by having the children cover it, he's going to suddenly be completely out of it in a way that would meet the rules of what a blind trust is. And this is why both Senator Ben Cardin have introduced a resolution and Representative Catherine Clark in the House has introduced a bill to try and force presidents and vice presidents to sort out their conflicts. It's called the Presidential Accountability Act, and it would require them to put their assets in a blind trust or disclose to the Office of Government Ethics when decisions are made that would affect their personal finances.
So when you think about it, what he's saying is that he is claiming he's going to step totally aside and turn everything over to the kids. And yet, these are still going to be Trump properties, right?
Yes.
With the Trump name on them.
Yes.
So there are going to be new projects come up all over the world. I mean, the New York Times identified last Sunday 20 different countries, including Saudi Arabia, all over. Indonesia, where Donald Trump has ongoing projects and plans even more projects. As we mentioned, Philippines and he's got something going in the UK. Russia, God knows what he's got going on Russia, right? So the idea, these are still, people are going to be trying to, one would imagine, curry favor with the Trump administration, foreign leaders, right, by supporting Trump projects in their home countries.
Exactly, which brings us up to another issue that perhaps you've raised with your listeners and viewers before, the emoluments clause, which almost nobody's ever heard of before, but it's a clause of the Constitution that prohibits the president from receiving gifts from foreign governments. And yet this is looking like it's going to be a major problem because anytime, say, these foreign governments come and stay in a Trump hotel, that's bringing money in to Donald Trump, that's technically a gift from a foreign leader that violates the emoluments clause.
In other words, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Right. All of that money, I mean, for the time being, it may just not go in his pockets, but
it does.
It's enriching him eventually. Yeah.
Yes, because if that's a building that's actually a Trump building, not just one, say, that he's licensed his name to, but like the hotel down here where he actually owns it. And if foreign governments come and foreign leaders stay there, and they stay there, and I'm sure they will, and when government leaders come from other countries, they often take like a floor of a hotel, because they can have so many people in their entourage.
I think the presidential suite's $20,000 a night.
And so that's money that's going to Trump, and that is therefore a gift from a foreign government.
Isn't there another problem with this hotel in that it's his property, but he doesn't own the building in this case. He's leasing it from the federal government.
Yes.
Because it's the old post office.
Yes.
So he's his own landlord, right?
Yes. Although, and it's something, a law professor at George Washington University wrote an article that appeared in the magazine Government Executive yesterday saying that actually the post office, the GSA, the General Services Administration, should void the lease because there's a specific provision in the lease saying that there can't be a financial conflict of interest with the owner of the property. And so there's this is an unusual clause, and it is a clause that would allow GSA to void the lease. Is the GSA really going to go and void the lease with the under the direction of the new president?
You think they're going to throw Donald Trump out?
Probably not, but it seems like they have a clause that they certainly should.
All right, so what should Donald Trump do?
Well, the best possible solution, which he's never going to do, would be to sell off everything, to actually have no more assets. And there's a specific...
And this is what Jeff Toobin on CNN has been recommending too.
Yeah, and there's, he gets a great financial advantage of that. He doesn't have to pay taxes. He can get on that. It's an incentive for wealthy people to go into government. So there are ways to save a lot of money on your taxes. So that would be one. That would be the best option.
Which would be sell everything off and put it in a blind trust.
Yes, sell everything off and put it in a blind trust.
So or else, so you would get all this cash, and then somebody else would
manage your assets.
The cash.
Yeah. The other thing is you can have a true blind trust, which is not giving it to your kids, which is a certified blind trust where you actually have no communications about what's going on with your asset, with the property, and there's an independent financial manager who's handling all of it. Then there was another interesting...
Isn't that what Mitt Romney was going to do or pledged to do? I think.
The blind trust is quite common. That is what's most often done, a real true blind trust. And then the third option, which I think was really interesting, came out in a New York Times article yesterday, was the suggestion to hire a corporate monitor, like we've had with Ken Feinberg, who's sort of the most well-known corporate monitor. He's September 11th Victims Fund. He also did the BP Deepwater Horizon.
That's right.
Yeah. And often these corporate monitors are hired by corporations once they're in trouble, criminal trouble, and it's at their own cost that they hire somebody to monitor and make sure they're staying out of trouble and not doing anything wrong. So you could hire somebody like that to make sure that everything is in fact done above board. Somebody who's independent like that. Who would also report to the public if there were problems. So that's another, that's just a new interesting option out there. But the certified blind trust would clearly be the best.
Is this a serious problem, or are we making too much of it?
Oh, no, it's a huge problem, and it's going to be a problem. And we're already seeing it on a regular basis. We're already seeing foreign leaders talking about currying favor, like we've seen it in the Philippines. I believe in the Philippines, there's somebody who's who works for the government, who is also a developer who's working with Trump on a Trump property, and he's now going to be like the ambassador to the U.S.
He's been named the special envoy to the United States. Yeah.
Right. So we're already seeing this. And what will foreign governments do in order to curry favor with Trump? And then we have other issues, like Donald Trump has a loan with, for example, the Bank of China is one of his lenders, and he's going to be making trade policy. So we have to worry, is he going to be making decisions that are in the best interest of the people of the United States or in the best interest of the Trump organization in his pocketbook?
I was saying, I don't know that Trump is this great big ideologue. I don't know that he is some hard line conservative. I think that our best case scenario for at least the next 4 years is a kleptocracy here in America, where he just comes in and just pillages the land and lines his pockets as effectively as he possibly can, which he can do.
He told Fortune magazine back in 2004 that he's probably the only person who could run for president and make money at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Bingo!
I believe that.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. And this is what's going to so disappoint so many of the people who voted for him, right? Because he said he was coming in to drain the swamp and it was going to be so different. And so far, how's it different? He puts lobbyists in charge of everything, and then he brings in billionaires to run all of the departments because they're... Sorry.
Hold that thought. No, hold that thought, because I want to get into the government of by and for billionaires with Melanie Sloan here when we come back. It is the Bill Press Show on Wednesday, November 30. Your take on all of this, 866-55-PRESS, and we'll be right back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, And he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But two, got to step it up. Got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, if you can help us with a $60 pledge, that's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism, on how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to that $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
This is the Bill Press Show.
At 26 minutes after the hour, Neil Resnikoff from ThinkProgress joins us at the half hour. Right now, Melanie Sloan, government ethics expert and founder of Summer Strategies, here with us talking about, the huge already conflicts of interest that we've seen with Donald Trump. And Melanie, it seems like he claims to be a billionaire, 10 billion, right? So if we take him on his word, he's certainly it's proven a billionaire who likes hanging out with other billionaires. So he's announcing this morning Steve Mnuchin, billionaire, as his Treasury Secretary. Wilbur Ross, billionaire, as his Commerce Secretary. He's already announced Betsy DeVos. Forbes puts her wealth at $5.4 billion as Education Secretary. Now, not all of them that he's named are billionaires. Mitt Romney's only worth, according to Forbes, $250 million, which I think is
in comparison.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Which I think is lowballing it, by the way, for Bain Capital. But so this is what we call draining the swamp.
Yeah, that just was a one campaign promise broken, immediately. Because not only did he bring in all of these billionaires, he also brought in all the lobbyists who would do all the work. And there actually is nothing wrong necessarily with lobbyists. Some of them lobbyists can be, very good people. They may know a lot about the topics. But this is what Trump said he wasn't going to do. Trump said this was going to be a total change, and all these people who voted for Trump because they were so sick of Washington and the ways of Washington and people coming in and just making money off Washington. Washington. That's what he said he was going to change. And from day one, he's been proving that he's going to be more of the same. New day, same old song.
Yeah.
The same people are going to come in, and then they're going to be cashing out based on making a lot of money based on their Washington time. And I think there's going to be a lot of disappointment across the country when they see how exactly the same it is.
But my question, and we're just out of time here, but what do these people know, if anything, about the average life and needs and problems of the 62 million middle-class Americans who voted for this guy?
Right, because billionaires don't exactly have the same kind of problems as working class people.
Yeah, you think? Melanie, so good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And stay on top of this for us. We know you will. We'll be right back here. Ned Resnikoff, ThinkProgress.
This is the Bill Press Show.
If you have
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is, thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up, got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669. 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, if you can help us with a $60 pledge, that's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism, on how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to that $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
live video, Bill's commentary, the best clips from the show, all in one place. YouTube.com/The Bill Press Show.
All right, at 33 minutes after the hour, here we go on the Bill Press Show this Wednesday, November 30. Yep, Donald Trump, he is out there tweeting again. We'll get right back to that. But first, I just want to give you a little tip here. You know, this is the time of the year where you just kind of think about, oh, my God, if I buy a gift for somebody, what am I going to do? I can't think of anything. I've got the perfect idea for you. Look what I'm wearing this morning. A beautiful scarf, a hand-woven scarf by my wife, Carol Press. Each one is a unique work of art, hand-woven by Carol in the studio behind our house. Either rayon chenille or bamboo. This red and black I love. Add a little color to your life and a little style. I'll just say that and invite you to check it out. Go to our website, BillPressShow.com, and follow the link to Carol Press scarves. God, you don't want me making them. To Carol Press scarves, BillPressShow.com. And you'll see many different colors and designs to choose from. Now, back to Donald Trump. Yeah, he is out there again, tweeting up a storm early this morning. Mornings are bad times for America because Donald Trump has his... but maybe if he just forgot to charge his phone overnight, it might save us all a lot of grief. To talk about the tweets and what this all might mean for democracy, Ned Resnikoff is the senior editor at ThinkProgress joining us. Hello, Ned. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Thank you for being part of the team here this morning. So, Peter, what's the latest here?
All right, so he woke up this morning tweeting. First of all, he tweeted about ISIS taking credit for the Ohio State University attack. He blames it on a Somali refugee who should not have been in this country. But then he launched into a big, major announcement. He's going to be holding a major news conference in New York City with his kids on December 15th. He says...
2 weeks from now.
Yeah. He says, to discuss the fact that I will be leaving my great business in total in order to fully focus on running the country in order to make America great again. While I am not mandated to do this under the law, I feel it is visually important as president to in no way have a conflict of interest with my various businesses. Hence, legal documents are being crafted which take me completely out of business operations. The presidency is a far more important task. That was 35 minutes ago.
They're the thrust of this morning's tweets. Yesterday's tweets were about the American flag. The day before were about attacking CNN. Ned, you've been writing about these, that it may be a more ominous implications of all of these tweets?
Yeah, so my article was about how Donald Trump lies and why he lies and why he tweets the way he does. I think the tendency is to see his tweets as completely erratic and random, but I think there's good reason to believe that there's a specific strategy behind them. It's not just about...
You don't think he's just firing off whatever thought comes to his head at a particular time?
I think it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
I mean, the thing is... there are two data points we should keep in mind. One is that he managed to take over a major political party with no organization and no money and then win the presidency. So there's clearly something going on there.
Right.
The other one is that he has very, very savvy advisors. And I'm thinking in particular of Steve Bannon, who in a Hollywood Reporter article from a couple weeks ago was quoted basically outlining the broad contours of the strategy I'm about to talk about when he said that he likes to operate in the darkness. He likes to operate in the darkness where people won't see or understand what he's doing. And these tweets, the sort of random the random falsehoods that the Trump campaign puts out, the fact that no one seems to quite understand what's going on in the transition team with all of these meetings happening with people like Dan Quayle. These are all about creating that darkness, creating that confusion.
So, and is Mitt Romney part of that darkness and confusion?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I think one of the things that sort of shows how easy it is to play the media is this sort of fight between Mitt Romney and Kellyanne Conway. I mean, it's mostly a one-sided fight, but it's interesting to me the way that it's being covered totally uncritically. Like there's some sort of tension between Conway and Trump, and she's playing the outside game against Romney, and that might be the case, but the fact of the matter is we don't really know. And this looks suspiciously like essentially a conflict on a reality show. It's about sort of generating conflict to generate more ambiguity so that no one can really know for sure or prepare for who's going to be a member of the cabinet.
But you take it a step further. I mean, that these are not just kind of maybe unpresidential, all these tweets and everything, but you call it in your article an assault on democracy.
Yeah. So
that's serious?
I
if
think
so, how so?
So one of the people I go to in the article to sort of draw on comparisons is actually an advisor to Vladimir Putin by the name of Vladislav Surkov, who sort of came up with this concept that he calls nonlinear warfare, which I think that if Trump and Bannon are not deliberately taking it from, and I think it's likely that Bannon has heard of Surkov, but even if not, then there are certainly similarities. And what Surkov does is, first of all, he uses this sort of like darkness strategy. He tries to make sure that no one quite understands what the Putin regime is doing at any given time or why. But the reason why it has very disturbing implications is because it's all connected to this idea that Surkov calls managed democracy. And the idea is that you give people venues for expression, but you also keep in a constant state of confusion where no one can actually agree on what's happening. And because no one can agree on what's happening, then the sort of political decisions that other people make, not just the president but everyone else, are based on totally arbitrary information, decisions that don't really connect to any sort of real cause and effect. And so Surkov says that the only real freedom in a managed democracy is basically artistic freedom. It's self-expression. And so that's what politics for basically anyone who's not the president becomes. It's a sort of like self-expression. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue here, that, you know, like in the same way, I think you're seeing this situation where Trump has very cleverly positioned himself so that opposition to him from the media or from a lot of other places is essentially just a form of venting spleen. But because it's impossible to tell what he's doing, it's hard to stop it.
So there's more.
Really well said.
Yeah, there's more strategy and more of deliberate intent behind this tweet storm, you think, than just being random.
Yeah. Well, part of the problem with the randomness is it's hard to tell what percentage is intent, what is random. If I had to make a guess, I would say that it's mainly Bannon capitalizing on a natural inclination in the way Trump talks and the way he. But we should also remember that Trump has been a businessman for a long time, and it's a sort of I mean, I cited Surkov because I think in some ways this is new as a political phenomenon, but just as like a basic sort of strategic fundamental when you're a businessman, like trying to obscure your intentions.
Well, he's not just a businessman, but he's a showman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a TV producer. He's a TV reality star, right? Who knows how to, we were talking about this yesterday, the whole transition, the way he's handled it, has been a page right out of The Apprentice, right? Including last night's dinner at Jean-Georges.
That was like the season finale of the Secretary of State sweepstakes.
Yeah,
of parading Mitt Romney out in front of everybody to maybe offer him a job.
But you alluded to this earlier. Whatever we think about it, it works for him. This is how he won the primary. This is how he won the general election. We can expect this is how he's going to conduct the presidency. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Yeah.
No reason to think he's going to change. Right. So do you really think that, like, I'm just talking about, now I'm sure you can't say every tweet happens this way, but that Bannon might have encouraged Donald Trump to tweet out this thing about the flag burning? I mean, just to distract. Let's face it. That's all anybody talked about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't talking about Tom Price, and I mean, maybe just a little bit, but the focus wasn't on Tom Price and Obamacare.
Mm-hmm.
20 million people losing their health insurance overnight once Tom Price becomes HHS secretary if he had his way. No, they're talking about whether or not people lose their citizenship because they burned the flag.
Right.
So whether they planned it ahead of time or not, it certainly plays, I guess what you're saying, it plays into their overall strategy.
Yeah, certainly. And things like the fight with the cast of Hamilton. I mean, it's the same thing.
Oh, got it. That was last week. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But that went on for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which some people also pointed out might have been a distraction at the time, to like sending Mike Pence into the firing line of a Broadway audience to see if there would be some sort of pushback. And there was.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
But the question is whether our democratic institutions and our checks and balances can protect us against this assault on democracy, and can we survive this kind of assault on democracy for the next 4 years? Boy, that's a serious question. Ned Resnikoff here with us from ThinkProgress, at thinkprogress.org. He's a senior editor. You have a question or a comment or an observation. We welcome your calls at 866-55-PRESS or your comments on Twitter at BP Show. Yes, we're guilty of Twitter too.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
It occurred to me tonight, for the first time, that the long-winged insect that over and over again rams its body into the wood of my front door might not know what he's doing. He might not have a plan. Maybe that's just how he flies, and that is where the door is. And I remember you, the last time I saw you, a few weeks before we would graduate from high school, and a few days before you let a bullet dissolve on your tongue. Dancing in a warehouse rave, sweat-drenched and strobe light battered, thrashing your arms back and thrusting them forward. The floor could get so bright and loud, we all slowed down to be more careful, but you kept dancing full sprint tornado, and sometimes you'd spin full weight into a wall and just spread your arms against it and sway back and forth like a lover reunited. This long-winged insect is not trying to get into the house. It doesn't know there is a house. Can't imagine a life beyond that door. All it can see is the light. You and I were both 17 when you died. And ever since then, I have envied you. How you are remembered for towering, unclaimed potential instead of living to look regret in the face. You didn't have to come home 3 weeks later and explain to your little brother why you took too much medicine. Your addiction is remembered as a tragedy, not a betrayal. Your suicide attempt became a suicide, not an unpaid hospital bill. And only tonight did it occur to me that maybe that night when you let your teeth touch metal, you might not have known what you were doing. You might not have had a plan. Maybe you had hit that door so many times you couldn't imagine it might let you through. I'm still ashamed to admit it, but I have always secretly believed you did it for me, that you wanted to show me that there is a way out of all of this. Not so that I would follow you, but so I would understand that every day that I am alive is a day that I choose to be alive. And when the music stops, you still get to keep on dancing. And when the light is so bright it blinds, you can dance with your eyes closed. And if in that dark you come up against a wall, you keep your arms out wide and you dance with the wall.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
12 minutes now before the top of the hour. Nikki Schwab from Daily Mail joins us at the top of the hour. Ned Resnikoff from ThinkProgress here in studio at the moment, talking about the Donald Trump tweet storm and what it's all about, and maybe there is a real purpose behind it, which is to undermine our democracy and replace it with a plutocracy or kleptocracy. I don't know. Maybe it's already underway. But meanwhile, the meeting of the Fat Cats last night, Ned, in New York, the big dinner between Mitt Romney and Donald Trump. Reince Priebus joined them at the very, very expensive Jean-Georges restaurant in the Trump International Tower. And Peter, they dined on...
I have the menu, Bill.
Oh, yes.
They ordered young...
These are men of the people here, right?
Men of the people, yes.
Right. These are people that the working class Americans have put their faith in. 62 million of them think, right, that they care about their daily lives.
All right, they got young garlic soup with thyme and sautéed frog legs.
Ooh.
Diver scallops.
Sautéed frog legs in the soup?
I think so. I think that's how it's written out here. I'm not sure if they were separate, but I think it was part of
If there's anything that says elite, it's frog legs.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean,
diver scallops.
I've never eaten frog legs.
Really?
No.
We used to catch them, but that's a different thing.
They didn't.
They're hardly elite.
Yeah. When you catch them
When
yourself.
you catch them and do the legs yourself, yeah.
At Jean-Georges, they don't
think they
own.
do that.
No.
Diver scallops with caramelized cauliflower and a caper raisin emulsion.
That's elite.
That's elite. That's elite. And also, Priebus and Trump had a prime sirloin with citrus glazed carrots for the main course, and Romney got the lamb chops with the mushroom bolognese sauce. All three of the men had chocolate cake for dessert. Let them eat chocolate cake.
Fine. We just wanted you to know that because we paid for it, I'm sure. That's on the taxpayers. Now, you can see he put in his expense form last night, Donald Trump. Probably filled it out before he left the table. Right. Sent it off to the White House transition team. And afterwards, Mitt Romney came out full of praise for the man that he called a con artist.
I've been impressed by what I've seen in the transition effort. The people he selected as members of his cabinet are solid, effective, capable people.
So what do you think, Ned? Is he playing games or is he serious here?
I think he's always playing games. I mean, it's who knows what happened at that dinner or what Mitt Romney's role is in all of this. I'm sure Romney has... I mean, Romney's a smart guy. He probably knows that he's being kicked around as part of this game of just confusion and obscuring things inside the transition team. But, he ultimately may get it. He may not. We'll see.
It's everything. It all comes back, right, to your theory that we really don't know. We are living in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I keep trying to explain this, especially the first couple of weeks after the election. I've said this before. It felt like after 9/11, and again, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic about how bad this could or could not be, but it's just this is totally uncharted territory. We have no idea what could happen. No idea, and that's scary as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find scary too is that if we're living in the darkness now, we're going to continue to live in the darkness, right? Throughout the next 4 years.
I think absolutely.
Hopefully no longer than that.
Yeah, I mean it depends on a lot of things, but I think that this strategy has worked really well for Trump, and he's going to continue using it. I mean, it's worked well for him throughout his entire career. One of the things that I mentioned in the article is sort of the connection between. Because I think this sort of language and the way he uses lies and the way he obscures things is something that you see in a lot of autocracies, basically. But it makes perfect sense that the guy who would champion this in the United States is a reality show star or has appeared in pro wrestling events, because it's all about. You remember that thing that Peter Thiel said about how Trump supporters take him seriously but not literally. It's all of this lying, all of this confusion. It's about inviting it's about inviting his fans, his supporters, into this little secret he has. It's like he's sort of winking and nodding at them, saying like, I understand this is fake. All politics is fake. But because I'm the person who acknowledges that all of this is a lie, in that way, I'm being honest with you. I'm leveling with you on some way.
Yeah, I mean, that's and we'll spend a lot of time analyzing what happened and how 62 million people ended up voting for him. But basically, they didn't care. It seems they didn't care whether he was lying or not. They almost knew he was lying, but they liked what he was saying, so it didn't matter whether he was lying.
Yeah.
I mean, just going back to Hillary, she broke the law. Well, no, she didn't break the law, right? It was proven that she didn't break the law.
It's this idea of like
asserts it.
Yeah, it's this idea of they're all crooks, but he's our crook.
I have to say he's their crook. He's not mine. But at any rate, all right. Excellent analysis and scary thoughts about what lies ahead. Ned Resnikoff from ThinkProgress. Thanks, Ned, for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll get you a little look on the POTUS's schedule today when we come back, and then Nikki Schwab from Daily Mail at the top of the next hour.
Donald Trump is a phony, a fraud. His promises are as worthless as a degree from Trump University.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow?
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones.
Don't even.
And explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better.
Please, don't quit on me. Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Being prepared is a part of who you are. But it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Well, one way you can tell that this is a transition period is that official meetings at the White House have really, really slowed down. Today, the president and the vice president get the daily briefing at about 10 o'clock, and then nothing else on the president's schedule until about 4:30 this afternoon, when he meets with this year's Nobel Prize winners in the Oval Office. The only other thing on the calendar of the White House today is our regular press briefing with Press Secretary Josh Earnest at noon in the Brady briefing room. Nikki Schwab from the Daily Mail joins us at the top of the next hour, and then we'll be joined by Daniel Newhauser from the National Journal. Lots more coming up. Hour number 3 on the Bill Press Show.
This
Stay with us.
is the Bill Press Show.
Calls me googly eyes.
You know you're beautiful, right? You know that?
Even you are beautiful. I got bullied for wearing glasses. Share if you're against bullying.
We put it out there, just took off. 3 million people have shared this post. Don't let bullies get you down. I stand with you. The whole family's wearing glasses. I wear glasses and I'm proud.
I even have the army on my team.
All the kind comments brought my child joy. I don't feel thank you is enough.
That's
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take my money and not use it to cause the financial crisis, but to fix the financial crisis and to help end income inequality.
The people that we employ are usually clients right off the streets. They don't have an account, but Amalgamated is willing to get that started for them.
Their reputation of supporting the working man, I think, speaks for itself. This is a bank that cares for their customers, and I appreciate that.
We were able to access a construction loan through the bank's programs, and that loan has helped us house 28 families in the community.
Amalgamated is a bank that was started for and about working people.
Many of our customers have a deep commitment to advocating for social and economic justice. We share that commitment, and we're not afraid to stand up and say that we need to change some of the way that the country does business.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The most important issue on this planet right now is to protect and conserve biodiversity in the world's oceans. And I don't think people realize just how intimate our connection is with the oceans themselves. Not only do they provide the very foundation of life and control our weather, but life just simply could not exist without a healthy ocean. The real problem, though, is apathy. It's all out of sight,
it's all out of mind, and people don't even think about it. But it doesn't matter whether you live in Peoria or on the coast. The fact is, whatever happens in the ocean affects all life forms on the planet Earth. If the oceans die, then civilization collapses. We all die. We cannot live on this planet without the oceans. This is, in fact, not the planet Earth. It's the planet ocean, but because we're a land-dwelling species, we refer to it as Earth. But it is the planet ocean, and the oceans are the heart and the foundation of all life on the planet.
Taught him how to hit a baseball.
Just like that. Say hi!
How to hit a receiver.
Nice.
The strike zone. The net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Donald Trump is at it again. He is tweeting this morning. We can't keep up with his tweets. We're going to have to be on 24 hours a day just to keep up with the Donald Trump tweets. Hello, everybody. Great to see you today. It is The Bill Press Show on this Wednesday, November 30. Coming to you live from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and our studio on Capitol Hill. We're all together here today with you on the radio, your local progressive talk radio station, of course, and also on Free Speech TV. Listening on the radio, give us a call at 866-55-PRESS and join the conversation. If you're watching on Free Speech TV, do the same. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. You might also check out our video stream. We invite you to do so, which is youtube.com/TheBillPressShow. And, of course, we invite you, we demand that you sign up and become part of our regular Bill Press team here. And we will get you little special goodies all day long on your smartphone. Videos from the Bill Press Show or videos from me covering the briefings down at the White House. So lots to check out there. Good to have you with us again with all of our team, Peter Ogburn and Jamie Benson. Hello, hello.
Hey, hey.
Good morning. Ray Rogers on the phones. ready for your calls at 866-55-PRESS. And we're looking at you on Free Speech TV, thanks to our videographer, Cyprian Bolding. Donald Trump again at it again today. It's hard to keep up with him. It keeps people like Nikki Schwab busy all the time. She's political reporter for the Daily Mail. Nikki, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming in. Yesterday it was flag burning, right?
Yesterday it was flag burning.
Getting all the attention. And some members of Congress responded. Several Republican members of Congress said they disagree with Donald Trump, that flag burning has been declared a constitutional protected.
There might have been a Supreme Court case about that.
There might have been, yeah, protected by the.
And there might have been some conservatives that believe that it was speech.
Mitch McConnell came out and said he thinks the Supreme Court got it right. Other Republicans did as well when they said it is a protected form of free speech. Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, had a comment, and now this comment we bring to you exclusively. Nobody else has got this audio. It's thanks to our friend Tim Mack, who on Daily Beast, right?
Yeah.
Daily Beast, reporter on the Hill, cornered West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin to ask him whether or not he agreed with Donald Trump's comments on flag burning. Joe Manchin, interesting response here, protected by the Constitution, but watch out.
What do you make of this proposal by the president-elect to ban flag burning and make it constitutional?
Well, the bottom line on flag burning is, and that's the First Amendment right, but you do it in front of me, I want to beat the hell out of you, okay?
All right.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Yeah, right. Is West Virginia showing?
Don't try it in West Virginia, man. Again, we thank our good friend Tim Mack for alerting us to that interview and sending us the audio, which nobody else has.
But you do it in front of me, I want to beat the hell out of you.
Yeah, see, right. So we should put under exclusive, right?
Yeah.
So
in all caps.
In all caps.
All caps.
All
That's
caps.
put up on the right. Well, yes. So that's the tweeting again continued this morning. And Nikki, now Donald Trump is tweeting to announce a news conference he says he's going to hold 2 weeks from today.
Yes, finally.
He hasn't held one for like 120 some days.
After
right?
It was so funny too, because throughout the sort of entire campaign, he kept on sort of bemoaning the fact that Hillary Clinton wasn't having news conferences,
right.
and he was having them quite frequently. And I believe the last news conference was when he sort of called upon Russia to hack Hillary Clinton's emails or find the rest of the missing emails or whatever he said. And so he hasn't had one since. So now we're going to get one on December 15th.
On December 15th.
That's
right.
exciting.
And what he's going to do, he says, well, Peter, let's say.
Let me
tweet.
Pull up all of his tweets, because he went on a little tweet storm earlier this morning about how he's going to have a press conference in New York City with his children. He says that he is going to be leaving his great businesses in order to fully focus on running the country in order to make America great again. While I am not mandated to do this under the law, I feel it's visually important as president to in no way have a conflict of interest with my various businesses. Hence, legal documents are being crafted, which takes me completely out of the business operations. The presidency is a far more important task.
Do you believe this?
I just don't know how you do it if your name is still attached to the business. Like,
Yeah.
is it?
Every one of these towers still has
Trump.
I
mean, in Washington, D.C., on the way here from my apartment, the big Trump International Hotel. I mean, there has been sort of thought about rebranding it, but that was sort of also in part because he was looking to be so unpopular when he was running for president that they were worried that the brand was actually tainted. But now I think that the brand, sort of means something because he's president of the United States. So I can't imagine they would want to sort of scrub it from all the buildings.
This morning, or yesterday afternoon, actually, Bahrain announced that they are holding a great big event at where in Washington D.C. Where would you think?
Where
the
else?
Ritz-Carlton? No.
Nope.
The Hilton?
The Capitol Hilton?
No.
Nice new piece of real estate, really close to the White House.
Trump International Hotel. So, and really, how much distance is there when you hand it over to your kids?
Exactly.
It's not exactly a blind trust.
And I
right?
think, the Wall Street Journal.
Daddy, what do you think we should do about this new hotel in the Philippines?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like giving it to your kids doesn't count. I'm sorry.
He's not giving it to them. letting them run it.
You're
Yeah.
handing it over to his kids for the
right.
short term is not taking your name off of it or getting out of it altogether.
And I think it says something that the Wall Street Journal said that he needed to basically sell off his properties and sort of dissolve his business.
Wall Street Journal said that.
I mean, the fact that this is the Wall Street Journal that made this point several weeks ago. And I think it sort of went, in one ear and out the other when it comes to Trump, because he doesn't want to, his business is his baby. And I think that he did this sort of White House political run as a hobby and then got elected.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's right.
Like the dog chasing the car.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now what are you going to do? You caught it, dude.
From everything we've seen, it literally seemed like he ran because he was mad that President Obama insulted him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. And this has all been sort of retribution since then. And then it actually, he resonated. His message worked. And it was the message that people in states like Pennsylvania, where I'm from, they heard and they loved. And thus they voted for him. But now I think he's in this sort of weird predicament because he doesn't really want to give up, decades of being this businessman.
He's not going to.
And I don't think he really, he's not really. And, I think that the kids have been sort of a force for good within Team Trump. And actually, it would probably be good if they were sort of not kept out of the White House. I think that Ivanka, especially some of her views on especially women's issues, would be sort of refreshing to have a Republican voice sort of voicing those issues. I mean, we obviously heard this at the Republican National Convention. It would be great to see her have, obviously she can't have like an official role in the White House.
Yeah.
But I think it would be smarter, and the Wall Street Journal is probably right, that he should dissolve his businesses somehow. And,
and put them in a blind trust is what they said.
Yeah.
Sell them, take the cash, put it in a blind trust, and have somebody else manage your money.
Exactly, because that'll cause him, fewer headaches. I think this is still going to be a political headache throughout his entire administration. There's going to be people, as you said today, oh, look what foreign, entity came in and decided to have a giant party at the Trump Hotel. We can connect those dots, even if there's no dots to be connected, and that's going to be really problematic going forward.
Right. Now, one question is whether the people who voted for, where there's so many, this has become a cabinet of billionaires in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? Not all of them, but
pretty
they're pretty wealthy and plenty of ties to, Goldman Sachs, which was horrible for when he was running against Hillary Clinton. He made sure to bring up all the speeches that she gave to Goldman Sachs,
but
how bad they were.
So far, known billionaires, if you include Donald Trump, if in fact he is a billionaire, Betty DeVos, Education Secretary, Steve Mnuchin announced this morning as Treasury Secretary, Wilbur Ross announced this morning as Commerce Secretary.
I assume Todd Ricketts is probably fairly...
Todd
Bank
Ricketts,
on it, yeah.
Todd Ricketts.
Co-owns the Cubs.
Yeah, he's got to have that
Cubs,
money.
So he's the Deputy Secretary of Commerce. And then if Mitt Romney's really in the mix,
he's
way
he's not
up there.
poor.
He's not poor, exactly. So somehow, though, 62 million people voted for this billionaire to surround himself with billionaires and run the government. You've written about and talked to some of them about whether or not they really believe Donald Trump is going to do all the stuff that he promised to do.
It's interesting because I was looking at this poll yesterday, and just even on the question of taxes, right? So Americans would love to see, their personal taxes get, sliced, because I think that everybody always wants to pay fewer taxes, even if you do believe in, transportation, infrastructure, all that kind of money sort of funneling into the system. But it's funny because there is also a reality check on this. You look at the percentages and you find that, Americans want to see their taxes sliced, but they're kind of wary about corporations getting their taxes cut. But they think that Donald Trump will probably cut corporate taxes over, an individual's taxes. So I think people are sort of aware of what's going on or what will probably go on. They're not under any sort of grand delusion that he is this
Do they believe he'll build the wall?
No. That was one that I think it was under, I don't have the figures right in front of me, but I think it was 40%. Whereas a lot of these promises, it's in the upper 60s or 70% when it comes to is he going to dismantle Obamacare? Yeah, people are pretty sure that he's going to meddle with Obamacare. And I think that, with Tom Price and some of these other people he's putting in place, that's pretty apparent. And also he's got backing in Congress to do that. They've been, dying to mess with Obamacare for years now. So
deporting immigrants who are here?
The belief is that, yes, he'll deport at least criminals, and criminal, and that has really high marks. I mean, I think it's like 90% of American voters would like to see, illegal immigrants who are criminals be deported. I think that makes, a lot of sense. But people are a little bit more wary. There's still, I think, sort of broad-based support for what we call comprehensive immigration reform, which I think it sort of in most people's minds means some sort of pathway to citizenship, not sort of like, hey, bye, come back, come back later, kind of immigration policy. So, I mean, I think that, with Trump, I think that I think broadly people are realistic about what he can get done. But it's been interesting to see sort of how like positive people are sort of feeling about him thus far. Even though I think us in the press, we've looked at some of the things he said, and they seem to be sort of these glaring red flags. Going after reporters personally. Talking about sort of broad-based voter fraud. Just sort of the tweeting in general is just so different than what we've seen with any president-elect, that he would still be on his personal Twitter account, sort of taking on his enemies, while also sort of building up this cabinet of his. It's been very, very strange.
But as we've been talking through most of the morning, that's who he is. I mean, he's the Twitter-in-chief, right? Tweeter-in-chief, I guess we should say. He was during the primary. He was during the general. He will be, it seems, from the White House. You've also been looking at the fact that Donald Trump is going to be doing something else that he thrived on during the campaign, which was holding rallies.
Going back and campaigning.
Starting this week, right? What are the plans?
And so, sort of a quick segue, but a lot of people have said that he's been so sort of reactive on Twitter because he hasn't like quenched his thirst of of what he sort of got from these campaign rallies. So perhaps he'll settle down once he actually
ego gratification.
Yeah, like he basically he needs that sort of like love of the people to carry on during his days.
That's what these victory tours are all about that he's embarking on tomorrow.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
So sort of stepping off from that, he's starting this, and it's funny because Kellyanne Conway was very, very careful not to call it a quote victory tour. It is a quote thank you tour, but he's going to basically go to swing states that he sort of pushed back into the red column. Sort of post the Obama years. So his first stop will be Cincinnati, Ohio, and then I'm hearing that he's going to go to Des Moines, Iowa. I assume he'll go to my lovely home state of Pennsylvania at some point.
Yeah.
Because that was a big one.
Michigan,
and probably
Wisconsin.
also Michigan, Wisconsin. But so far, we just really know about Ohio and Iowa. But I think it's also that he's going to go to Indiana to sort of pat himself on the back for this carrier deal, which we don't actually know how much of a part he played in it. Yeah. And it looks like there's actually fewer jobs that are staying in the country than sort of the full mass of jobs that were supposed to leave the country. But, it's sort of yet to be seen what kind of goings-on are happening behind the scenes that Donald Trump can take credit for on this deal.
Right. Politico reports this morning that there were originally 2,000 jobs that were going to be lost in Mexico. Now
it'll be 1,000.
It'll be 1,000, and 1,000 remain behind.
And I believe that there
so
had
it
already
still means
been
1,000 people.
Yeah.
It's a glass half full, half empty, right?
I mean, it's something, but it's not everything, and it's unclear. A lot of people said that perhaps Trump can use the bully pulpit to sort of literally bully some of these companies from, throwing jobs to Mexico or other countries. I imagine that he probably, being a Republican, probably threw some sort of tax incentive at them as well. But it's, we don't really have any sort of details about what happened here.
Look, if he can save 1,000 jobs, good for him. If he can save 2,000 jobs, good for him. But I think overall his economic policy, you can't run this economy by going one by one to company after company after company, saving a few jobs here and a few jobs there. It's overall economic policies, which I think are going to be very bad for this economy and undo a lot of the progress we've made so far under President Obama. So Nikki Schwab's been following Donald Trump during the campaign and Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton as well. Here with us from the Daily Mail on where we are today in this transition. And what about the big dinner last night and what's going to come out of that, Nikki? What do you think? Frog legs. After dinner frog legs, anything could happen. Join in at 866-55-PRESS and we'll be right back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start. This pledge drive, remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up. Got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, you can help us with a $60 pledge. That's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism and how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to that $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
This is the Bill Press Show.
26 minutes after the hour, Daniel Newhauser from the National Journal on the big vote in the House Democratic Caucus. He'll join us at the top of the next hour. Nikki Schwab is here from the Daily Mail. So the big dinner last night, Mitt Romney came out. He was effusive, saying what a wonderful leader Donald Trump was. Boy, he has changed his tune.
That statement was something else.
It was pretty, I thought, humiliating. It
was very kissy.
It was kissy. So why is Donald Trump, why is Mitt Romney doing this? Doesn't he realize that Donald Trump is just playing games, or is he?
I don't, no one seems to really know. And then, like, sort of the side saga was this whole thing with Kellyanne Conway on Sunday, where she sort of, as everyone said, went rogue and was sort of blathering on about how, the grassroots hates Mitt Romney, and it would be terrible if Donald Trump selected him and blah, blah, blah. So you've got sort of that drama going on over on the corner, and then this sort of like weird date night that they were having with Reince Priebus. It's very strange.
Yeah. What's going to come of it? Will we know today, maybe? Or
I can't imagine. I think that it sounds like he's still doing at least one more interview with one of the candidates. But, I think that, Donald Trump wanted Giuliani, right?
Yeah.
But he's been doing this whole sort of like bait and switch with us a little bit.
Well, Giuliani can't get confirmed.
Exactly. I mean, Giuliani is problematic. He doesn't actually have, he's got the name recognition, but not the experience.
Yeah. We got to leave it at there, Nikki. So good to see you again.
So good
Thank
to see you too.
Man, the transition's turning out to be as much fun as the campaign.
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Come back again soon.
All right. Sounds good.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, friends and neighbors, just a little time out here to talk about Free Speech TV, and you know where I'm going. Yep, and you know how it goes, right? We do this 2 or 3 times a year where we turn to you and ask your help for Free Speech TV, and we make, you know how it goes, we make our pitch, and then you make your pledge, but you got to make your pledge. Listen, we're off to an okay start, this pledge drive. Remember, end of the year, this is a one chance you got to, last chance, to get a little tax break here, lower your taxes by making a contribution to the nonprofit Free Speech TV, so you can write that off. And it's also just that time of the year where we want to feel good about doing some good things for ourselves and for other people that we love. Well, add Free Speech TV to your list. And again, we're off to an okay start, but we really got to step it up. In fact, I've talked to the head of Free Speech TV, Ron Williams, great guy, and he had a couple of messages for me to transmit to you this morning. One of them is, thank you for all of you who have helped so far. We really, really appreciate it. Again, Free Speech TV wouldn't be there without you. But 2, got to step it up, got to get up to what Ron is telling us, at least $3,000 every day for this show to meet our pledge goal for this pledge drive. So if you haven't already done so, please do it today. Do it now. Make us all happy and make yourself feel good by as generous a pledge as you can. And you know how to do it. You go to our toll-free number, 877-378-8669. 877-378-8669, or you can go online to freespeech.org. And just to show you our appreciation for your pledge, if you can help us with a $60 pledge, that's just $5 a month. We'll send you a Free Speech TV calendar for 2017 with pictures of all your favorite hosts. For a $120 pledge, $10 a month. A copy of this great new book, Rules for Revolutionaries. It's all about grassroots campaigning, how it's done by the people who put together the grassroots campaign for Bernie Sanders. For a $200 pledge, a special set of 2 DVDs on plutocracy, how we went from democracy to plutocracy, government by the rich here in this country. It's even going to get worse, of course, under Donald Trump. For a $240 pledge, a 6 DVD set about capitalism, on how it has grown out of control and how we get it back under control. A $360 pledge, you'll get the whole enchilada. A copy of that Free Speech TV calendar, copy of the Rules for Revolutionaries, and a copy of that Plutocracy DVD, the 2 of them. And for $1,000, come on to Washington. Bring a friend. Come to Washington. Carol and I will take you out to dinner. And then you come in the next morning. It's a lot of fun. Meet the crew here at the Bill Press Show, the whole team, and be part of the program that next day. So whatever level you can help, please, you got to do it. Got to get up to that $3,000 today, every day from now on out. Number to call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. Let's do it right now.
same great show, new great channel. Stream live video at youtube.com/The Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go at 33 minutes after the hour on a Wednesday, November 30. It's that holiday time of the year. Time to add a little color, a little spice, a little style to your life. Do what I'm doing. Wear a beautiful hand-woven Carol Press scarf. I've got one on this morning. Just changed to a new one, a kind of a, I don't know, what do you think, Peter? Brown and...
Burnt sienna?
Burnt sienna. I like that. That's burnt sienna.
Burnt
I've
sienna.
loved that color for a long time. I used to love that crayon when I was a kid.
There you go.
This is a burnt sienna. Hand-woven scarf. It's rayon chenille. Carol also makes them in bamboo. They're all hand-woven, each one a unique work of art. Lots of different colors and styles to choose from to keep you warm and make you look beautiful this holiday season. A great gift for yourself or someone you love. Check out our website, BillPressShow.com, and follow the link, Carol Press Scarves. It'll take you right to Carol's website, and you can see all the different, as I say, styles and designs to choose from. Meanwhile, here on the Hill, a busy day today, a big day for the Democrats because the vote that was delayed for 2 weeks for leadership in the Democratic Caucus, House Democratic Caucus takes place today. What can we expect to happen? Daniel Newhauser is congressional reporter for the National Journal, joins us on our news line this morning. Daniel, good to have you with us.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
So the big vote, what can we expect to happen today? Is Nancy Pelosi in trouble?
You know, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I really do not think that she's going to lose today. She's already said she has the support of 2/3 of the caucus. Something like 80 members by last count have already come out and said that they support her, and her challenger, Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio, has only 12 or so public supporters, although, you know, the campaign says that there could be more that are scared to come out publicly because, you know, the word of retaliation by Nancy Pelosi. But I think the bottom line is, you know, there's a lot of frustration. Democrats just went through a traumatic election, but it looks like they're going to reelect Nancy Pelosi pretty handily.
It is a secret ballot, correct?
That's right. So, you know, at the end of the day, you never actually know what's going to happen on a secret ballot. You know, there could be a lot of people just like the Trump election who say, you know, well, we hate Trump, but then vote for him anyways. People could be saying, well, we love Pelosi, but they'll vote against her anyways. But you know, that's what we're all waiting to see. If that is a phenomenon that's about to happen, I would be extremely surprised. But you know, nevertheless, the vote tally will be very instructive about exactly how deep the frustration is with Pelosi and with the fact that she's been Democratic leader for 14 years, and the criticism is that she just doesn't let younger members, junior members, come up and have much say or much room for advancement.
There is also the fact that Democrats who needed to win 30 seats to take back the House this year, a week before just a couple of days before November 8, the last time Tim Ryan was on our program, he admitted that they weren't going to get 30, but he thought they might get 15.
Yep.
It turns out Democrats only won 6.
Yeah.
And yet, and this is one of the issues I know, Nancy Pelosi has turned around and renominated Ben Lujan from New Mexico, who was the DCCC chair in this year, the last 2 years, for another term, even though he only won 6 seats and Democrats didn't win back the House. That's got a lot of people concerned as well, right?
That's definitely an issue. And one of the things that Tim Ryan said at his campaign is that he's going to make the DCCC position an elected position rather than an appointed position so that there would be accountability. But Pelosi really doesn't seem to have much interest in loosening her grip on power. She did say that there were going to be a couple of other positions that she would create for junior members and make them elected instead of appointed, but not with the DCCC. And you know, I mean, the knock on Pelosi from Ryan is that she's partially to blame for the Democrats' losses. That she didn't do enough to make their message a national message that would resonate with particularly with white working class voters. And a big criticism is that she's so reviled in a lot of these districts that she can't even go there. She can't go to southern districts. She doesn't travel to places where there'd really be swing state elections. Whereas a guy like Tim Ryan, he says, could.
There's also
go ahead.
Well, also some reports that there's unrest in the Congressional Black Caucus, which has always been very, very loyal to Nancy Pelosi, and she's had a very strong support there. What's that all about? What's that unhappiness about?
Well, here's the thing with the CBC is when they get power, they do not want to give it up, and that's of course because they're worried that their members will be pushed out in favor of white members and so on and so forth. So when they hear things like term limits and elected positions rather than appointed, what they think is, well, we're not going to have one of our own at the table eventually. So one of the things that Pelosi suggested was turning the assistant to the leader position into an elected position that's meant to be filled by a member with less than 5 terms of service. Well, who sits in that position right now?
Jim
Clyburn, exactly, who is the senior member of the Congressional Black Caucus, the only member of the Congressional Black Caucus at the leadership table. So they don't like that idea, and they don't like all this talk. They have a couple of committee chairmen or ranking members like Maxine Waters, Benny Thompson at Homeland Security, and they want to keep it that way because they've historically been disenfranchised in the halls of power. So they don't like any kind of talk of empowering younger members and term limits and that kind of stuff.
When you look at the leadership of the House today, James Clyburn, you just mentioned, Nancy Pelosi, and Steny Hoyer, I believe they're all three the same age, or if not, they're just like a year apart.
75, right? 76. That's right.
Right. So, what about the younger generation? That's whom Tim Ryan represents. But that's also, isn't it, a cause of a lot of the turmoil within the caucus?
I mean, that's really a big part of it. Is that you remember Chris Van Hollen was talked about as being the next potential speaker in waiting and so on and so forth. Well, that never really happened, and he ended up running for the Senate. So for Democrats, it's kind of like they're looking at their bench, they're seeing a brain drain. And they're seeing that there's really no room for advancement for younger members into leadership because the top 3 spots are completely locked up.
But didn't Pelosi create some new spots in order to provide some space for the next generation?
Yes. So she rejiggered some spots and created some new ones. So there'd be committee vice chairmanships now that are meant to be filled by a member of the committee who's been on the committee for less than 5 terms. There are DCCC regional chairmanships that are meant to be filled by junior members, and the Democratic Policy and Communications co-chairmanships, and the Steering and Policy Committee has now been turned into 3 co-chairmanships. Mm-hmm. But the knock from Tim Ryan is that all this really does is consolidate Pelosi's power. Because not all of these are
elected.
She gets to at least throw her weight behind someone. So even if the ones that are elected, people know, if Pelosi wants somebody in there, then she wants somebody in there. And if somebody gets that kind of position with the backing of Pelosi, I mean, how are they going to ever challenge her, right? So it's like keep your friends close, enemies close, to that kind of thing. Now I will say, to her credit, the Ways and Means chairmanship just opened up. Or not the chairmanship, the ranking membership just opened up. Sandy Levin announced that he's going to step down. And who's going to be heading in there but Javier Becerra, probably, who was just the chairman of the Democratic caucus.
Right.
It kind of looked like he was going to have nowhere to land. And now, miraculously, the Ways and Means ranking membership opens up, and it looks like we're going to have a relatively younger member heading into that very important post. I mean, it's a critical post. heading into next year when Democrats want to repeal Obamacare and do tax reform and all that kind of stuff.
And certainly Javier Prezera, who was rumored as being a candidate for vice president this year at one point, could certainly end up being a future Speaker of the House of Representatives, or certainly Democratic leader. I just want to, before we leave you, a word of contrast with the turmoil, if you will, in the House Democratic caucus with the way the transition was handled in the Senate Democratic caucus. It was all worked out ahead of time, wasn't it? Over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's just, it seems to be a little bit more like how they do it. We don't see these sort of, raucous leadership intrigue kind of elections in the Senate as often. Maybe that's a function of the fact that there are just fewer people in the Senate, or maybe they're a little bit more, I don't know, dignified, if you will, because the Senate is the Senate. But no, you're right. I mean, early on we kind of thought that Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin would duke it out, but Durbin stepped aside pretty quickly, and it seemed like that was out of deference to Reid, who kind of made his choice.
Yeah, and then Patty Murray at one time looked like she might challenge Dick Durbin, but they worked that out. Now there's a slot for Patty Murray and for Bernie Sanders and for Elizabeth Warren, and everybody ends up being a winner.
Yeah, well,
it was all sweetness and light, and
maybe it just doesn't do anybody any good to fight like that in the Senate. Whereas in the House, of course, Tim Ryan is rumored to be considering running for governor in Ohio. So something like this, where he can go to Ohio and say, "Oh, yes, I've been in the House, but I challenged Nancy Pelosi," and maybe get some bipartisan credentials for that. Whereas other members who, again, in these districts that Pelosi can't go into, it really does them well to distance themselves from somebody who's unpopular, like Pelosi in their district. So, there's always that kind of an effect going on, too.
Right, you got it. Hey, Dan, thanks so much for your time this morning. All right, always good to talk to you. We'll be watching to see what happens, as will you, just hour or so from now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. You got it, Bill. Anytime.
Dan Newhauser, congressional reporter for the National Journal. You've heard me say it before. I'm a friend of Tim Ryan's. I'm a friend of Nancy Pelosi's. Whatever happens today, and if I were there, I'm California. I'm Nancy's friend. I'd vote for Nancy. But I think this is really good for the party, really good for the House. Just like I supported Bernie Sanders in the primary. The Democratic Party, they lost a big election this year. They should not just march into the future with everything the same. It's good to have challenges and mix it up and think things through before we move forward. Back on the Bill Press Show in just a second.
This is the Bill Press Show.
For my 6th birthday, my grandpa gave me a Rubik's Cube. I'll always be able to remember its edges, hold it in my hands, heft the weight of an overwhelming problem. I remember him telling me about it. How Rubik's Cube has 43 quintillion, 252 quadrillion, 3 trillion, 274 billion, 489,856,000 possibilities. He told me it can be really confusing sometimes. But to look at the center squares as a reminder of what color each side should be. Shift. We're celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary. He and Grandma are dancing a dance that only fragile legs and wrinkled hands know how to. That type of happiness took him 70 years to earn. The white side of the cube is solved. Shift. He tells me about how he met Grandma. His college friends had a sunset picnic. She was there, as beautiful as an unsolved puzzle. She was a red-headed scramble on an orange tile sky. Shift. The walls of the hospital are blue. The nurses explain that his memories had become jumbled. Strangers in family portraits, pictures with mismatched faces. Alzheimer's has made his mind into a Rubik's Cube. Shift. He's a highway patrolman. His car is white. No, it's blue. He worked there for 30 years. Some nights he still does. Time is a complicated algorithm. Shift. The pills he holds are yellow and red and green. The weight of their color causes his hand to drop. I try to shift his tiles back into place, but people don't have center squares. His mind is a hospital bed divided by zero. Shift, my sister's wedding is white, but he doesn't know why. Shift, World War II is every color. The South Pacific is blue. The islands are green. There is so much red. Shift, grandpa, table, cube, name, scramble, California, guitar, grapefruit highway, wedding bell, war, stick shift rifles, South Pacific mirrors, shift, 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 shift. The temperature of his hands is blue. Death is colorless. I will always remember his edges. Hold him in my hands. Heft the weight of an overwhelming problem. I was unable to attend his funeral. I never found out the algorithm to solve him. A Rubik's Cube has over 43 quintillion possibilities. A casket only has one.
Live video, Bill's commentary, the best clips from the show, all in one place. YouTube.com/The Bill Press Show.
11 minutes before the top of the hour. Indeed, here wrapping up on the Bill Press Show. And once again, Donald Trump's tweets are the news of the day so far. It's been about almost 130 days since Donald Trump has held a news conference, but we don't have to wait too much longer, only 2 weeks longer. He tweeted out this morning, Peter, he was up early and announcing a big event on December 15th.
Yeah, December 15th, he's going to make the announcement that he is going to distance himself from his business operations. He says that he is going to be leaving his businesses to run the country, to make America great again. He says he doesn't have to do this under the law, but it's visually important. Now, of course, with these things, the devil is in the details.
Turn it over to his children.
Well, he doesn't specify that here necessarily. That's sort of what.
But he's holding a news conference with his
kids,
children.
so it's assumed that that's probably what's going to happen, which doesn't fix the problem. I mean, for pretty obvious reasons. Right. So again, the devil is in the details.
So that's the point, and it gets to this whole question, which we've talked a good deal about the last few days, which is a very serious question. The everywhere you turned, conflicts of interest between Donald Trump, businessman, Donald Trump empire, hotel developer, high-rise developer, and Donald Trump, President of the United States. So far, he has refused to put any distance between the two. He's been holding meetings, as we've discussed, with developers from the Philippines, since he's been elected. Developers from the Philippines, developers from Turkey, developers from, there was one other country, India, right, that we know of. God knows how many other meetings he's held, to talk about continuing business projects in those countries. His hotel here in Washington, D.C. has been luring and reaching out to the foreign diplomats headquartered here in Washington, saying, wink, wink, if you want to get in good with Donald Trump, here's what you do. You come to our hotel. And in fact, the country of Bahrain announced yesterday they're going to hold a great big extravaganza event in the Trump International new hotel here in Washington, D.C. So there are all of those conflicts. And what is he going to do about it? The Wall Street Journal has recommended that the only honest thing to do is to do what other presidents have done, is sell the whole thing off. Just get rid of the Trump empire. It ceases, business empire. It ceases to exist. He takes all that cash, puts it in a blind trust, and has somebody manage his assets. That, says the Wall Street Journal, is the only way, the proper way to approach it. Donald Trump has said he won't have anything to do with that. And so instead, he's going to have this Mickey Mouse news conference on December 15, where he's going to pretend that the way he's going to solve the problem is to turn it over to his kids, and therefore there'll be a total separation between Donald Trump president and Donald Trump businessman, and we won't have to worry about any conflict of interest. Don't believe that for a second.
No. I mean, there's only one way to
His kids are
settle
never
this.
going to talk to their father about what's happening with the business. He's never going to give them advice about what countries to do business with. And foreign leaders are never going to be sponsoring new Trump projects in their country in order to get favorable treatment from the United States.
I mean, remember, he was trying to get his kids security clearance.
Yeah.
I mean...
Floated that, and that bombed. But but again,
that's what he wanted to do. I mean, this is not an ethical man. He's not doing this because it's the right thing to do.
And the outrage is that he ended his campaign for the last 2 months talking about and complaining about nothing but pay to play on the part of Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
This is pay to play on steroids. Back with a parting shot in just a minute.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
I wanted to find a bank with a purpose. I wanted to find a place that would take...
All right, just when you thought this election was over and just when...
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
Well, someday people will learn that elections have consequences. We certainly learned that yesterday when Donald Trump named as the new HHS Secretary Congressman Tom Price, the #1 enemy of Obamacare. Price, a doctor himself, fought Obamacare every step of the way in Congress. Then he led 65 different votes in the House to repeal it. Now he'll finally have his chance. Now, we know Obamacare is not perfect, but still, 20 million people have signed up for it. Tom Price doesn't care. He'll throw them all out in the cold and leave them one of three alternatives. Sink thousands of dollars, which they don't have, in a health savings account, go to the emergency room, or simply die. The end result, some 50 million Americans will be without health insurance at all. I don't know about you, but I don't believe that's what Donald Trump was talking about when he said we're going to make America great again. My party shot for today, folks. Have a great Wednesday. Come back and see us again tomorrow.
This is the Bill Press Show.